Disney Plus presents WandaVision. In WandaVision, it starts out with the regular logo for Marvel movies, and you show it slowly fading into the black and white as if it were transforming into WandaVision, which was kind of cool. The first episode mimics a lot of things that you would find in the Dick Van Dyke Show. When I was little, I used to watch that show. I mean, reruns, but I used to watch it when I was little. And they do a lot of things, like when he would come in, he would either trip over the couch, and in later seasons, he would see the couch and he would, sidestep it and be like, I tripped over that before. They do a similar thing here with WandaVision. Then the second season, I want to come back to the second episode. They are moving into Bewitched, and you can see the similarities in that show. It looks like they're advancing through the years, getting closer and closer to modern time through the TV shows. They're being observed by an agent from the sister to S.H.I.E.L.D., essentially. You've got S.H.I.E.L.D. that handles stuff on Earth, and you've got S.W.O.R.D. that handles stuff coming to Earth from space or leaving and going to space. They do that kind of space alien type stuff. And one of their agents is watching what's happening with Wanda and Vision. And their view of what's happening is coming to them as a TV show. It could be that Wanda is using her chaos magic, which is in the movies given to her because of the reality stone. It looks like she's using her chaos magic, the ability to change reality, and she's changing it, and this is how they perceive her reality right now. Or it could be that somebody else is doing it because they asked through the radio, Wanda, are you there? Who's doing this to you? Because they think that somebody else is doing it. So what happens is Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, has brought Vision back, or Vision is back in her mind, maybe, but he's there with her. So they're back together. He's not dead anymore, apparently, and they're in a bubble. If you saw the previews, you saw they're in a bubble reality. And she either caused it or she's trapped in it. People from the outside obviously assume that she's trapped in it because they ask, who's doing this to you? And the first episode was a little lackluster. They didn't really give us a lot. There wasn't a lot of action, wasn't a lot going on. The second, it picks up a little bit, but I think 3 or 4 is when we're really going to get the gist of what's going on. Between Wanda and the Vision, there's a lot of stuff that they could be doing. They're kids who eventually become superheroes, but are actually shards of Marvel's The Devil, Mephisto. There's that, and then the Vision, in the comic books at least, got his brain, essentially. It's patented after another superhero that mimicked his brain to create the Vision's brain. That superhero was Wonder Man. Wonder Man starts out as an enemy of the Avengers, but eventually becomes an Avenger. And it's intricate. Wonder Man's brother is a villain also, who needs a reason to hate people, and he hates the Vision for stealing his brother's mind, which the Vision didn't do, but it's not like he didn't have his brain. They just mimicked it, and then they copied it and put it in the Vision's brain, which leads to another problem. The Vision, in the comic books at least, finds out later that he's in love with Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, because Wonder Man, the superhero, whose brain he mimicked, is in love with the Scarlet Witch. So it's kind of like a love triangle. And she finds out, oh man, wow, all of the love that the Vision felt for me is because his mind is based off of this guy, and that's what that guy felt. There's that. The Vision eventually becomes a villain for a while. There's that. The Scarlet Witch erases like 98% of all mutants in existence. There's that. She changes reality so that her family rules the planet. And there's that. Mephisto, the devil in Marvel comic books, is heavy in her life. There's that. There's a lot of things that they can do with this based on what happened with the comic books, but I mean, it's the Marvel movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They don't have to follow what happens in the comic books because, like, say, Ragnarok was 3 different Marvel stories smashed together, and then they changed some of the people that were involved in it and stuck in other people. So they do that. So the first couple of episodes were but I'm assuming that it's going to build up because it's Marvel, and you know that there's stuff hidden in there, stuff that they got to build upon, like Agnes, who is probably Agatha Harkness, who is a hero / villain from Marvel. She's a witch. She talks about Fred. These shows are based on old movies. So I'm thinking Fred, they took that like Fred Flintstone? And she keeps talking about her husband, Ralph. And I'm thinking, Ralph, like the Honeymooners? They're using names, they're throwing names in there from other things so people can grasp onto them and make their own assumptions about what's really happening. They mention that Wanda is from Sokovia, which she is, but they mention that. They mention a product made by Stark, and you know who that is. They also mention a watch made by Strucker, and if you don't remember from the movies, he's the guy that headed the program to make the Miracles, which became the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Miracles might be their way of making mutants. Maybe they used the Reality Stone and created them. Also, maybe mutants are coming in because of, I don't know, there's a ton of things. I got my own ideas about how they could do it too. But mutants are going to play heavy into this because Wanda is a mutant, you know. And there's so many different things that they could do, so many different things that they've got in there, and so many things that they could do. They introduce Monica Rambeau, who is a superhero in her own right. She's the African-American woman that was in the show, and she is Captain Marvel, also Photon, and a few other names that they gave her. She is a superhero who has the ability to absorb, to become, to channel any form of energy at nearly any level. She's a crazy powerful superhero. And she eventually is on the Avengers team, and they introduced her. So there's going to be different introductions of different people that are going to probably fly under the wire. I'm interested about what they're going to do. It seems like from the Dick Van Dyke Show, they went to Bewitched. And from Bewitched, it looked to me like they're kind of throwing in a little bit of a movie called Pleasantville, where these people were trapped in another reality. It was like a TV show. They were trapped in a TV show. And the more reality they brought to that TV show, the more things started to, have color. Because it was in black and white. The reality that they were trapped in was black and white. By the middle of the second episode, it seems like reality is starting to come through on her warp of reality. it's all in black and white. But all of a sudden, there's some color. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, they keep hearing this bumping sound. And I think it's people from the outside trying to get in to her reality. Because her reality from the outside is just a glowing big bubble that they're living in. And they keep hearing bumping sounds. It woke them up in the middle of the night. In the morning, they hear it again. They go outside and they look, or at night, they hear it again. They go outside, they look, and they see a dude coming out of the sewer. Moves the manhole cover. He gets out, and for some reason, he's in a beekeeper uniform. But I noticed he had the symbol for sword on his back. And then he turns and looks at him, and she's like, no. As in, like, no mutants. She said, no. Pop. She changed reality. Everything rewound. They went back to the house. For some reason, she was pregnant. She walked in the house. She wasn't pregnant. She went, took a few steps, turned around. She's like, oh, my God, I'm pregnant. And she didn't say, how'd that happen? She's just like, oh, wow, look, it's incredible. It is not incredible. That's creepy. So now she is in the house and she says no, and it rewinds, and the dude disappears. So everything that happened up until him showing up still happens. They just kind of gloss over it. So she either wiped him from existence, or she sent him back, or she just rewound everything without him. So she could have actually made another reality just then. We don't know yet. One other thing, I think she's controlling what's happening because, like, Vision wanted to go out into the world, but he had the Vision face. He didn't have a human face. And then she kind of, and changed it. She's making plates and stuff fly around. She's cooking dinners without touching stuff. Stuff's flying. One of the people asked her, how did she get all of her furniture in the house so quick? And she's like, oh, we had a moving company. It's not like it moved itself, but it did move itself because she controls reality. Then one of the women says something to her about the devil being in the details. And then the woman leans over to her and says, he's not just in the details. And I'm like, oh, she's talking about Mephisto. She's talking about their version of the devil. The devil in DC? That's, Doctor Strange has got to show up. I mean, who else is going to deal with the devil? If it was a vampire, I'd say Blade, get him, Blade. But it's got to be Ghost Rider or Doctor Strange, right? I'm thinking Doctor Strange because he's already been introduced. And this is supposed to segue into the Multiverse of Madness, which is the Doctor Strange movie. Got to be Doctor Strange. Now, I'm also thinking if she can warp reality and maybe she brought Vision back, then maybe she can bring her brother back. Or an alternate version of him. That'd be interesting. I'm thinking, yeah. Also, could she also pull all of the other mutants into her reality? Are they there already? I don't know. They got to bring them, right? The X-Men, stuff like that, they got to show up. So I'm thinking, how are they going to segue them into the show? But either way, they're starting to show her comic book level power. Because in the comic book, she used to make hex spears. So like in a certain spot, pow, 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 she could control reality. Then she could just control it. All the way up to like a planet level control of what's happening. So I think right now they're living in one of her hex spears. That's what I think. I'm not real sure because we've only seen 2 episodes, and collectively they're only right about an hour. They're like a little 30, 40 minutes a shot. So we haven't seen much yet, but I'm intrigued. I'm pulled in. I'm captivated. I'm curious. I'm checking it out. It looks good. And I would give WandaVision, at least so far, I'm losing my voice. At least so far, I would give WandaVision 7 bags of popcorn. 7 bags of popcorn. Just yet, just so far. It may get better, it may not. I don't know. Right now, 7. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I think. But more importantly, what do you think? Now that we've talked about WandaVision, let's talk about it some more in the comments. And now that you've seen this video, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.